So in just 4 years, Loom was able to go from 0 to 14 million users, and they did it all without the traditional sales cycle. I spent the last 20 hours doing a full experience deep dive from their marketing funnels to their internal products to their growth loop. And in this video, I'm going to share some nuggets and a walkthrough of the different parts of the Loom experience. So by the end of the video, you can grab this playbook for yourself and go apply it to your business. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, stick around and we'll talk about it in the video. Okay, to kick things off here, let's talk about the growth loop. And I guess before we get into any of that, we should talk about what is Loom. So Loom is an asynchronous video recording tool that primarily started on a Chrome extension. And it is used to record a video and send it to other people to get feedback, communicate with your team, whatever have you. So their secret sauce is in their growth loop. And so with them, the primary growth loop that they have that works for them is a user, a team member, anybody really that wants to communicate a video to somebody. They record it on their Chrome extension. They record it on their desktop app, on their mobile phone, kind of whatever medium they have. They record that video and then they share it. They share it to someone, right? So they very quickly have the ability to grab the link and share it with someone, or they can share it via a email or whatever have you. When that person then receives that, if they are a user, then they see who that's from. But the brand awareness comes from when somebody sends a Loom video to someone that is not on Loom themselves and does not have a thing. Every single time they get that piece of video from someone, they're exposed to the Loom product. And so by sheer fact of somebody creating a video, sharing it, every single time someone watches a video, they get exposure to the Loom brand, and thus it creates this kind of viral growth loop where Loom doesn't have to put a bunch of marketing dollars behind. Because then when somebody is in the top and they click on login or get Loom free, then they're taking to record your first Loom video. And so then they create the video themselves. And then the cycle starts over because then they're like, oh, this is cool. I'll send this to somebody. And so over time, it is share, view, adoption, record. And this growth loop just makes it go bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that is kind of been their secret sauce to growth. Now, part two. Let's get into the teardown a little bit more into some of their marketing pieces, the actual product itself, some of the more technical details, and then we'll also talk about some of their community-driven aspects. And so we'll dive a little bit more into the specific main flow of their product. We talked a little bit about the growth loop so you understand it, but here's how the actual flow of the product works. So they record with a Chrome extension. A user then records their video on whatever it is. The plugin activates. They select what they want to record, and then they record it and it's automatically captured. There's some social kind of pieces to it, right? So you can see how many viewers there's been. It automatically saves what you're talking about because it understands it, and kind of promotes the primary CTA being to share. When you go to share something, it continues to promote upselling of their product to drive conversion rates. It promotes social sharing, embedding on your thing. So it provides multiple ways for this product to be organically shared. And then it goes through two different flows. If a user is signed out, then their primary CTAs become get Loom free. And so they really drive that virality piece. And if they're signed in, then it just says share, because then we want to encourage somebody to share a video that was shared with them. And so that's the basic primary product flow for Loom. Because of this, one of the things that Loom does on their home pages and their other parts of their marketing product pages is they talk to different user groups. As time has gone on, they've realized that more and more people of different varieties of different parts of their product team use this product. And so in order to get the best of their marketing, to get the best of their SEO chances and all of that stuff, they have different landing pages that speak specific to different people within a tech product organization. So if we do a quick little teardown here, what we see here is they have these broken up into kind of a few primary sections. They have a landing page for developers, for designers, for general marketing teams, for product managers, for support teams. And those are kind of their primary 5 different use cases and users that they're targeting. And to each one of these, they have a very similar layout. They kind of have the same templatized format where they show a use case example of how that specific person might use it, kind of bringing in some sort of tie to what stuff they actually recognize, and they talk to that user's language, right? Build and ship faster for developers, design together with videos, present, share, and collaborate, video feedback solution that your team needs, talking to marketing solutions, work smarter with video, right? Very powerful language for product managers, right? They want to be smart and effective and tactical. And support, right? Customer service with video and messaging. So each one of them is tailored specifically to that audience to make sure that it captures their attention right out the gate and speaks to their needs. And then as you go down, they continue that piece, right? They highlight for developers what those pieces are. They talk to the points about spending less time in meetings that they know developers hate and spending more time in code, right? Speaking to those pain points, talking to those users directly. They demonstrate things that can be fixed with Loom. And then, they have a really good way of showing copy, right? Without interrupting anyone else's flow, right? They do a very good job of talking to the pain points. And then as they get further down, they bring in this social proof and they tailor it to fit for developers that they relate to. They even bring in recognizable companies that developers know that are more developer focused versus ones that are not. And then they make sure to highlight AI because AI is such a big buzzing thing at this point in time. They make sure to talk about that. And so this very similar format follows through in every single one of their marketing pages, their designs, their landing pages, the language they use, and all of this stuff. For everything, they talk about it for designers. They show the use cases. They talk to those points. And so it's very effective in the way they do that. And that has also helped with, I'm sure, SEO it helps them with. It helps them communicate better. And it continues to help with their virality and their growth. And so next up here is they also have done a great job of community-driven growth. And what I mean by that is they showcase their product through webinars and video resources that their users can go to and see. And it's where they talk about the product and how to get the most out of it and show demos. And it's all hosted and driven with their product. And so it continues to build upon the growth in the loop, right, is being able to have access to those. And then when you go into other parts of the community products, right, they have featured. And so it shows how these different people from different product teams and experiences, how they use Loom and what's been the most effective for them and how they use them in real situations, like sending weekly video updates or delivering feedback or skipping meetings and sending a Loom or announcing company initiatives, right? They very practically show real use cases, and those community-driven pieces help to grow the virality of each one of those. And so they have the walkthrough, what they're talked about, see a live use of a real use case of the product. So it's kind of dog foods itself. And so that's another big part that they've done well is build a community around Loom. And it's now become this industry standard thing. When somebody says, I'll send you a Loom, you know what that is. It's a video that I'm going to send you. But if somebody were to tell you some third-party tool, you're probably not going to know what that is. But because they've built such a strong community, people know what that is. And so lastly, I'm not going to go through everything in this, but I am going to kind of wrap it up here with one last piece. Now, let's talk about the application, or at least the things that you can ask yourself of how you can apply this to your product, or the things to think about if you are in growth mode as a startup. So kind of to close this thing out, I'll link the full thing in the description for you to be able to grab, walk through the whole Figma file, look through it all yourself. But to close it out, there's just a few questions that I want to leave you with and get you thinking and pondering and all that good stuff. But when we think about growth loops, we think about how they position themselves, and we do all of that. I think there's 4 kind of things that come to mind when I think about these things. That's right. What is something that your users do in your product that others can consume regularly, or that they are consuming regularly, right? Think about those moments. When I think about that, I think about like, oh, I am creating things like a Pinterest board, and maybe I want to share that with somebody, and I'm just creating those, and so naturally others consume those, and that creates a shareable viral moment. So think about things in your product, like what are people already consuming that others are creating on your product? Where can you bake in moments where people naturally want to share the product? So again, kind of tying back to what people are consuming, when I think about these, I think about also Dropbox, right? How in the very beginning, some of their growth loops were you share more, or you invite somebody to Dropbox and you get more storage, right? You think about things that people want to share and give them gentle nudges and reasons to want to share in those moments, whether that be a happy moment, whether that be they accomplish something, whether it be a streak, things of that sort. Like, you want to find those moments where people organically want to share. And a lot of times they're in a happy state and they are positive about things, right? Also think in those moments, like, how do we reduce friction, right? How do we make sure that those experiences are super painless, they're lightweight, and they encourage the referrals? The more and more of that you do, the more and more organic growth will be possible. And kind of the last piece on this I always like to think about is like, what is the aha moment in your product? If you can get someone as quickly as possible to the aha moment and the part where you're like, shit, this is really good, the better off you are and the more chance of virality and sharing you will have. The most recent example for myself that I came across was a product called Granola. And the second that I saw the AI summary of the meeting and being able to ask their AI questions was the second that I was sold, and was like, I will never use any other note-taking tool ever again because it was so good and I wanted to tell everyone about it. And so if you can make those aha moments quick and lightweight, the growth loop and those pieces will be so much easier that your product will sell itself. And so this is kind of all just to say, like, think about moments that people want to share. Ponder those moments. If you don't have those in your product today, start thinking about what is something when someone shares, they are exposed to your product. So I'll leave you with that. I'm going to drop the link to this Figma file in the description. Thanks a bunch for being here. Hope you found some value in this video. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. Peace. Oh, and if you're here and you need help with some of this design and marketing pages and virality loops, hit me up, DougDougStudios.com. I got some openings this month. So thanks for being here. Catch you later.